Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the World of Outlaws Pro Series powered by iRacing. It's round number 6 from the sprint car capital of the world. It's Knoxville Raceway as we begin the second half of the 2024-25 season. Tim Terry and Ashton Smythe here to call all the action for you. And Ashton, we start the second half of the season with an iconic racetrack. This racetrack has been on this series since its inception. This is the 9th time the sprint cars have been here with the World of Outlaws Pro Series powered by iRacing, and always puts on some great action.
It definitely does. Knoxville Raceway is one that everyone marks on their calendar each and every year. It's one of those tracks you love or you hate, and 90% of the drivers love this racetrack. And talking to them, a lot of them have been waiting for it all year, and it took them a long time to get around to this point. And they had to qualify in, Tim, and it's a little bit different this year. How do they qualify into these Monday night shows?
It's a little bit different, and we're going to talk about some of the big names not making it this week once we get to the point standings. But it's 3 races per week, every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 8 p.m. Now, usually we tell you you can qualify in tomorrow for next week, but we have a 2-week holiday break. So get ready for that break to come. And we have the next race coming up at a to-be-announced venue. We'll let you know later on this evening where we are going on January 6th and when you can qualify for that in the week prior to that next sprint car show, back-to-back with the sprint cars, albeit with 2 weeks off in between. But halfway through, 5 races completed with 4 different winners. Tanner Pettit picking up 2 of those victories so far this season, and they've both been with the sprint cars. And Ashton, same qualifying format as we would have since we started on round number 1. 3 8-lap heat races. Top 3 are going to advance to the feature. 2 last chance showdowns at 12 laps. Top 2 advancing. 35 laps of green flag racing in the feature. There are no caution periods in the heats and the LCSs. Drivers on the racetrack now for their time trial session will lock the top 8 in.
Yeah, Tim, top 8 will be locked in straight out of qualifying, but then do not forget there is an invert. So whoever the fastest is will start 8th back. And we've seen a lot of those drivers who've qualified 7th, 8th, take home some wins. And this is where strategy starts playing into the World of Outlaws Pro Series powered by iRacing. Do you try to, shoot it back a little bit and try to, qualify in that 7th, 8th position and risk the chance of having to run a heat race? Lots of stuff. And there's also qualifying points on the line. So lots of things matter every time these drivers hit the racing surface.
And when you look at that qualifying format with trying to get into the top 35, let alone trying to get into the top 21 to make the feature here this evening, Blake Majulis, who surprises me not making the field this week, his worst finish this season all year in features has been 8th. Ethan Johnson, 5th in points, not making it into the feature, or at least qualifying for the feature here this evening. We are going to take a look at the qualifying results and look at that. Dylan Yeager at the top of the board, Aiden Forrester, James Edens, who's been in every single one of these Knoxville races when it comes to sprint cars. Adam Elby is the same way, but Noah Carpenter back in the series, by the way. Welcome back, Tanner Pettit, Sean English, Logan Rumsey, and Adam Elby. With the invert, Ashton, it's going to be Adam Elby starting in the front of the feature later on. Then you look at these points and you see a couple of those drivers in Ethan Johnson and Blake Majulis losing a little bit of ground after qualifying because, well, they're not here.
Look at the battle for first right now between Logan Rumsey and Kendall Tucker. Only 1 point separate the 2 of those drivers. Like I said, just below that, Blake Majulis not in the show this week, so that's going to give drivers like J.D. Brown, like Dylan Yeager, a chance to catch up some points. As after tonight, only 4 races left. Next one will be to be announced later on tonight, so lots of exciting enough coming up here in the sprint car capital of the world. And as we say that, I think qualifying just wrapped up, and we are getting ready to start heat race number 1, and here is the starting order. Ryan Avila, the 2023 Sprint Car Champion, will start from the pole position of heat race number 1 with Evan C. on his outside in 33 machine. Row number 2 sees newbie Peyton Burton and Connor Dudek in the number 7 machine. Row 3 has Aiden Price on the inside, and Ethan Winter will start in the 39 on his outside. Row number 4 has Garrett Liebert in the 5 machine on the inside, Braden Eiler on his outside, and rounding out starting shotgun on the field in the 50 machine, Clayton Davies.
So that's your field for heat race number 1, first of 3 on the evening, 8 laps, and we will lock in the top 3 to join in to those grade 8 that have already qualified. And one of those small little points, Ashton, when you were talking about that close point battle up front, Logan Rumsey locked into the grade 8. He qualified 7th. He'll start 2nd with the invert. So again, and he mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, where you kind of almost want to try to play that speed, but you also don't want to get caught in one of those heat races. Kendall Tucker, we will see in heat race number 2 starting on the pin. So there is some strategy to this, but again, the first strategy, making it into this top 35, and a lot of these drivers have, with the exception of a couple that just missed the mark as the field begins to roll off for heat race number 1.
Yeah, you just talked about Logan Rumsey, one of those drivers locked into the grade 8. Typically more of a late model guy, he would say himself, but he's really started to figure out the sprint car this year, has lots of incredible finishes on the year. Consistency's kind of been his name of the game, so we'll see if he can play it out tonight. But let's talk about the 2023 sprint car champion rolling off from the pole position here. He finished 4th at Knoxville last year, so hoping to increase that to a win and his first win of the season here tonight.
As the field rolls off, the 49 of Avila and Evan C. on the outside, top 2, getting ready to see the green flag momentarily in this first heat race. This is 8 laps in length. You don't want to be outside the top 3, because you don't want to find yourself in a last chance showdown this evening on round number 6 for the World of Outlaws Pro Series, powered by iRacing, one of the most seasoned racetracks when it comes to this series. Green flag flies, got a couple already cartwheeling and 2 up and over already at the back, and that's not the way you want to start your night.
Not at all. Crazy initial start to this. The 49 machine still remains out front in the 33, 14, and 7. Right behind them. You're really seeing here just how big this racetrack is here at Knoxville Raceway. We haven't seen a track necessarily this size yet in the sprint car, and it's all behind your current leader right now. Ryan Avila, as 2 laps are down.
Your top 4 on the racetrack, the exact same way that they started this heat race, with Avila, C, Burton, and Dudek. And we've talked about some of these drivers being new to this series, some of these drivers not having the best of luck. Connor Dudek has been in the first 2 sprint car rounds, has not made a feature, but he's trying to do it here to the bottom side of Burton. Will pick up position number 3 and try to move himself in. Meanwhile, up ahead of them, it's Evan C. and Ryan Avila swapping the lead for the top spot. Heat race number 1 will be halfway this time.
Ryan Avila slides up to the top of the racetrack. C clears him down to the bottom side by side into turns 1 and 2. Halfway through, slider from C up to the top. A little bit of a bobble there out of C, and Ryan Avila is hanging right on the left rear of that 49 machine as we ride along with Ryan Avila, who currently sits in 2nd.
Yeah, riding on board with Avila there is C, and Avila going to point that thing back down to the bottom side to try to make it happen for the lead position. They continue to go back and forth. Avila enters this evening 7th in the championship standings. This could be a big night for the 49.
Yes, it could. Cool, calm, and collected is the driver behind that 49 machine, as he's built a little bit of a gap here with only 2 laps to remain. Right now it's Avila, C, and Burton in those transfer positions. Later on tonight, 2 laps remain, 1 lap now. Final lap for heat race number 1.
Evan C's lost a little bit of ground to Ryan Avila. Going to try to do something through 3 and 4. Got it up to the outside, but can't make anything happen. Going to close in at the end, but it's not close enough. Ryan Avila picks up heat race number 1. Evan C in a 2nd, and we just caught that battle in behind Peyton Burton in car number 14, going to make it in, and that's going to be Peyton's first appearance in a feature this season after missing the mark at Lincoln in round number 4. Ethan Winter, Connor Dudek, Jarrett Liebert, Clayton Davies, Aiden Price, as they have that swap at the end. Price was able to get back out and pick up 1 spot. And Braden Eiler, and Eiler has been involved in a lot of these races at Knoxville, has picked up a win before. If he wants to get back to the front, Ashton is going to have to do it from the back of an LCS. That is a very tall task for the driver of the number 5, but we will see what he can do. But heat race number 1 is won by Ryan Avila. Ashton, you've caught up with our winner.
Ryan, you looked so cool, calm, and collected behind that wheel of that race car. Won the championship last year. How do you feel about Knoxville? Are you confident that you can pick up a win here tonight?
It's going to be harder, starting ninth. Missed starting on the pole by 1/1000. So I think it's just that close, and hopefully we can, find the right line tonight and start off just a little bit better than we did last year. Missed the podium by one spot, so maybe we could pick up another better one here and see what we could do.
Congrats on the heat race win. We'll see you in the future.
Thank you.
And you just heard it there from Ryan Avila, how close qualifying actually was. 1/1000 separated him and that 8th place driver. Is going to be a close race later on tonight as we are lining up for heat race number 2, and the man in the 00 machine, Kendall Tucker, will roll off from the pole position with JD Brown in the 14 machine on his outside. Row number 2 sees the KHR machine of Kenny Hoffman, and Sean Smith in the 45 car will start on his outside. Braden Carter will start on the inside of row number 3, and Landon Cardoza in the 21 car on his outside. Row 4 sees the 40 car of Chase Stewart and the 25 machine of Tyler Ducharme. Another couple heavy hitters during this one, Tim, only 8 laps. Top 3 transfer in. And you got a lot on the line here as we are winding down just 4 more races after tonight, and there are lots at stake for the overall championship.
Absolutely, there is $10,000 to win, and again, we go back to you have to qualify, you have to perform well. There's a $6,000 difference between the top 2 in the championship, and then another $2,000 back from 2nd to 3rd. Per race, 300, 200, and 100, so a little bit of money to race for. And then Ashton, there is all kinds of other championship prizes, including the recognition at the Dirt Car Nationals at Volusia. A trophy, all kinds of other things to go with it as well. You need to be on the mark every single week.
Not only that, but there's also $300 on the line for the winner each and every single week. 200 for second, 100 for third. So a couple extra bucks in cash never hurt. So those drivers are all going to be vying hard for a win here tonight.
So the field rolls off for heat race number 2, and again, when we talk about championship points, Kendall Tucker trying to take that championship away, back and forth with Logan Rumsey. They don't have to worry about Blake Majulis right now after qualifying for this week. They got to worry about making it into the show for the next 4 shows after the holiday break. But with Logan Rumsey already in the show, picking up a couple of extra qualifying points, you'd have to believe that Kendall Tucker wants this one. JD Brown's 4th in points. We talked about those money differences in the top 5 when it comes to the championship. Brown wanting to do something with that one, and then Kenny Hoffman, no stranger to these sprint cars and no stranger to putting it into victory lane. We'll see if those 3 can remain in those transfer positions, but they've got 8 laps to try to figure it out. Heat race number 2 at Knoxville, and Kendall Tucker is on it. We are Green Flag Racing.
Great initial start out of the 00 machine of Tucker. One of the only drivers who finish in the top 10 every single time, as there's a bobble out of the 14 and the 11-14 still side by side into turns 3 and 4.
Hoffman going to pick up that spot. The 14 of JD Brown going to fall to position number 3 and try to go back to the inside.
Hoffman up to the top side of the racetrack. Brown settling in behind him. 2 laps completed. Follow the leader style right now. Just as I say that, Hoffman slides down to the bottom. JD Brown to the top. Hoffman starting to pull away from Brown just a little bit. They've all opted for the high side of the racing surface. 3 laps into heat race number 2.
14 at JD Brown looking to the outside at Kenny Hoffman as they battle for that spot. You ride on board just in behind with Sean Smith. This is the first time that we've seen Sean Smith this season. Ashton was 37th, I believe, when it came to that qualifying round at our last round for the sprint cars back at Lincoln, but needs some help here as well, as he's currently in 6th. There's Chase Stewart right ahead of him in the 40 car. Stewart needs a little bit of work too. He's got to get up past Carter and get up to Brown, Hoffman, and Kendall Tucker as we are halfway home.
False flags in the air, 4 laps down, 4 left to go, and it is all behind Kendall Tucker as we ride on board with the 14 machine of JD Brown, who sits right on the bubble right now, but has almost half a second gap between him and the rest of the field. J.D. Brown, another strong driver that we've seen all season so far, hoping to pick up another good points here tonight. 2 laps remaining.
And Kendall Tucker is long gone from the rest of this field as you watch this battle for position at number 4. It's a good spot. It's a good starting position in an LCS if they can hold on to it. Final lap, though, is the 00 of Kendall Tucker will lead this one down through corners number 3 and 4. And the driver battling for the championship this season will pick up some valuable heat race points. He wins heat race number 2 with Kenny Hoffman and J.D. Brown, your field. Tucker and J.D. Brown, 2 drivers of 6 that have made every single show this year in the top 35 at least when it comes to qualifying, and Brown and Tucker one of only 3 that have made all 5 features this season. You include Kenny Hoffman in there, he's going to be tough to beat when it comes to feature time later on. Braden Carter, Sean Smith, Landon Cardoza, Chase Stewart, and Tyler Ducharme. Again, there's another surprise that's going to have to come from the trunk in an LCS, finishing in position number 8. But Ashton, again, we see Kendall Tucker up front. That is pivotal when it comes to the championship. We're halfway through. We talked about it a lot this evening. That is key. Now we're going to have to see what he does for the feature later on. And Ashton, I know you like a good sale. The iRacing holiday sale is now on, 50% off all new memberships.
Go to iRacing.com/holiday-sale now through January 5th to take part in this amazing deal you do not want to miss out. So be sure to go to iRacing.com. 50% off, Tim. That's a huge deal for anyone. Do love me a good sale. So we'll have to be taking part in that one for sure.
As the field gets ready for heat race number 3, Ashton, I believe you've caught up with Kendall Tucker.
Kendall Tucker picks up the heat race number 2 win. The Mount Airy, North Carolina driver. Kendall, you've arguably been probably one of the most consistent drivers all season long, finishing in the top 10 every single time. What's it going to take, though, for you to get that first win here tonight at Knoxville?
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to get up on the wheel here and try to call our way up through the field. We should be rolling off 10th there. We'll just try to keep this thing clean and see if we can at least get us a top 5 finish, or maybe a little better than that. Hopefully can get up front and be battling for the win.
We'll see you in the feature later tonight.
All right, sounds good.
Kendall Tucker in the 00 machine from the Majula C Speed Shop. Like I said, Tim has finished within the top 10 every single week so far. One of the really strong drivers as we look at the starting grid for heat race number 3. And on the pole, the 85 machine of Tyler Schell. On his outside, the 17 car of Ty Schoblock. Row number 2 sees Mike Augustine in the 19 car and Lloyd Bernier in the 74 car. Row number 3 has Colby Araki in the 30 machine on the inside, and to his outside, Bowen Smith in the 12 car. Row number 4 has Aiden Bierlein in the 13 machine, and on the outside, Joey Lindgren in the 16 car. Tim, I had to take a second there. Joey Lindgren starting in the back of a heat race. That is a spot that we are not used to seeing the driver of the 16 machine start.
We saw Ducharme and Eiler finish near the back of their fields when it comes to these races. You see the 19 on your screen of Mike Augustine, one of those drivers that has made all 5 of our races so far, has qualified for 4 of the 5 features with a second place finish back at Weed Sport. The one driver that I did see on our lineup, we mentioned Noah Carpenter is back for the first time this season, was a driver in our 2023-24 Sprint Car Series, as was Aiden Bierlein. Bierlein has been in a couple of these seasons. I know he's switched some teams in the offseason. I know he's been trying to get back here, but it's good to see Bierlein back in the 13, and he will start near the back. I can guarantee you he probably will not be there for long. You see him starting 7th in that red and white and black number 13 on the inside of row number 4. But up in front, it's a former sprint car champion for the World of Outlaws Pro Series, Tyler Schell. Gonna lead this field to green. 3rd and final heat race from Knoxville is underway.
Great initial start from the former champion as the cars go into turns 1 and 2 and down the backstretch. Tyler Schell leading right now. Ty Schoblock right behind him. Mike Augustine with a big move up to the top as there's a little bit of commotion in the back half of the field right now.
Little slider for second place, and it's going to change hands as Loic Bernier goes to second for the time being. Schobloch going to try to make that happen as we see some of the drivers near the middle of the pack. There is that battle for position number 2 on our screen. A little bit of contact down the straightaway and into turn number 1. Mike Augustine going to try to lock his way in, and Bowen Smith not too far in behind. We saw Bowen Smith make their debut the last time we ran the sprint cars at Lincoln. So as we continue on, green flag continues.
Lots of battles happening all over the racing surface right now as we ride on board with the driver who sits in 7th, Aiden Beerline from Woodford, Virginia. Got a nice little Christmas tree right now that he's got lots of spots to make up and a lot of strong drivers in front of him. And you look at the times there, Loic Bernier, Ty Schobloch switching back and forth, swapping back and forth for second. Mike Augustine wants in that battle as well. So does Joey Lindgren. The 17 machine slides down to the bottom, slides up the racing surface. Bernier to the inside of Ty Schobloch.
Ty has made our 2 features when it comes to sprint cars this season. Bernier trying to get in, was top 5 in one of the top splits earlier this week when it came to qualifying. As you ride on board from Joey Lindgren. Lindgren started scratching this one. 2 laps to go. He's got a little work to do, Ashton, to get up to the top 3.
Currently sits in 5th right now. Bernier, Augustine, and actually, just as I say that, he makes the pass on Schobloch. He's got to pick up one more position as there's only 1 lap left in heat race number 3.
Final lap as Tyler Schell going to try to pick up heat race number 3 out of turn number 4. Checkered flag is up, and Tyler Schell will pick up heat race number 3. The former sprint car champion will race his way into the field at Knoxville. Loic Bernier and Mike Augustine, your top 3, with Joey Lindgren, Ty Schobloch, Aiden Beerline, Bowen Smith, and Iraqi going to try to make their way in and through a last chance showdown. Ashton, another exciting field, another exciting heat race, but I think these last chance showdowns, when you include guys like Ducharme and Eiler and Lindgren and Beerline, those 2 last chance showdowns, only taking the top 2, are going to be intense.
Yeah, they are, as we see each and every single week. And, you know, especially here at Knoxville, it is cutthroat. Sprint car capital of the world. Takes a lot out of these guys. We're going to talk with one of those drivers right now. Great qualifying effort there. Dylan Yeager qualified the pole position, but the invert now. You're starting in 8th. How are you feeling about that starting position? We know starting position is ever important here at Knoxville.
I feel pretty good about it. You know, I was really nervous about qualifying this week. I've been really bad with qualifying in the qualifiers this week, and thankfully the track went to something what I was a little bit more comfortable with, going up there and running the top. But I'm feeling good from 8th. You know, getting the qualifying points there was really good, and you know, we'll see what we can do here. Hopefully put on a show and get a good finish.
Great job on a great qualifying effort and also picking up some extra points, and we'll see you in the future.
Thank you.
Dylan Yeager qualified on the pole earlier on. Like we said, the invert will push him back to 8th, but Tyler Schell, heat race number 3 winner, looked so strong out there on Knoxville. Not even a single bobble out of you. Do you think this is a Schell-style track?
Hopefully the bottom can come in and I can make my way forward and hopefully can make some noise in the feature.
There you go. We'll see you in the feature.
Thank you.
Tyler Schell picked up heat race number 3. Then we've talked to the fastest qualifier. We talked to all heat race winners, and now it is time for some last chance showdowns.
It is, but before we get there, we talked about a addition to the series, an addition to the sim. Round number 7 of the World of Outlaws Pro Series takes us to the brand new racetrack on the service. It's Huset's Speedway, and Ashton, I've had an opportunity to burn some laps around. It just came in with the new build. They had some exciting Week 13 series that everybody could take a run at. I actually got to run some mini stocks, as you're seeing on the screen, around Huset's, and this place is very racy. I cannot wait to see our pros tackle it in our first race after the holiday break.
Yeah, Huset's is going to be a great addition coming up on January 6th. This high bank third mile bull ring is one that everyone loves. Lots of key events are held here at Huset's, including the High Bank Nationals and the Huset's Hustles for the 410 sprint cars. Lots of large paydays come out of Huset's, and has also hosted the World of Outlaws Knott's Energy Drink Sprint Cars in person. And now we'll bring the World of Outlaws Pro Series powered by iRacing. They're looking forward to it. But let's look at the starting lineup for the Last Chance Showdown. Number 1, rolling off from the pole position will be Ethan Winter in the 39 machine, and on his outside, Joey Lindgren in the 16 car. Sean Smith and Garrett Liebert will start in row number 2. Aiden Bierlein and Chase Stewart will make up row number 3. Row number 4, Clayton Davies and Colby Arakai. 12 laps. We only take 2. Last chance for these drivers to make their way into the feature later tonight.
Again, this one and the next Last Chance Showdown we're about to see are going to be stacked with talent. We're going to see some drivers very disappointed at the end of 12 laps, but that is the breaks when it comes to this series. It's the 35 best every single week. Somebody is going to end up on the outside looking in. Somebody's going to end up one small misstep and outside of that 21 car starting field, and I think we're getting ready to see a couple of those drivers maybe have their hearts broke again. Said Huset's is on the schedule. We now have Huset's on the schedule. It will come up in, well, 2 weeks after this one, 2 weeks off for the holidays, and then we're back on January 6th. Be sure. It gives you perfect time, Ashton, to get Huset's if you haven't already with your iRacing membership. Get that content, get some laps in, burn some laps in, and qualify the week before for that race on January 6th.
Lots of good racing still left on the season as this Last Chance Showdown is getting ready to roll. Lights out on the pace truck. It is going to be an interesting one. 12 laps. 2 will transfer in, and it's Ethan Winters, Joey Lindgren front row.
And who is going to end up in those top 2 positions after 12 laps? Keep your eye on Jarrett Liebert. First time we've seen Jarrett this evening. We've seen him many times when it comes to this sim, but not necessarily in this series this season. Aiden Bierlein starts on the inside of the next row with Chase Stewart. Then Clayton Davies. We've seen Clayton run this series a couple of times and have some really good runs, but got to get into the top 2 to make it into the feature. Green flag flies, we're underway.
Great start out of Joey Lindgren, slides down to the bottom. We heard a lot of drivers say in their interview the bottom side hasn't come in quite yet, and that gives to the 45 machine the run that he wanted. And just as I say that, the 16 shoots back to the top. 45 now down to the inside.
Beautiful looking 45 car that Sean is driving this evening, but needs to drive it a little bit quicker to get it towards the front. Jarrett Liebert moves to position number 3, and we'll look at the 16 of Joey Lindgren to try to pick it up. A little bounce from Lindgren up the hill behind. There's the 50 of Clayton Davies. Davies from New South Wales trying to get up and make a appearance in the feature, but he's going the wrong way, Ashton.
Yeah, big slide out of that racing machine we just saw, and we ride on board with the driver in third right now, just outside of the bubble. Jarrett Liebert from Washington. You see Joey Lindgren just ahead of them. All the drivers still working the top side of this racing surface. We're 4 laps down 5 the next time by into this Last Chance Showdown. Jarrett right now looking for an opportunity to make that pass, but he's starting to lose ground just a little bit. Flip a little bit farther back in the field to the driver in 7th. Colby Arakai, first time we've seen him with the series so far this year, and he's got a lot to make up here with only 5 laps down in Last Chance Showdown number 1.
And we see Jarrett Liebert here with us. Jarrett is racing for NFR, and we've seen NFR on our eNASCAR, our pavement oval coverage. And that team is a juggernaut when it comes to those series. It's good to see Jarrett out here and having a little bit of fun slinging some dirt with us, but he needs one more spot if we want to see him for 35 more laps. But now, instead of being on the offense, he may need to be on the defense, because Chase Stewart is on the hunt in front of them. Joey Lindgren gets into the fence, and now we've got a battle for second.
Joey Lindgren back to 4th, and he slides down to the inside of Chase Stewart, trying to make his way back up. Big bobble, 5 laps left in this race here, and he's now to the inside of the 5 machine, of Liebert, who sits in second right now.
And here comes the 40 of Chase Stewart. Stewart's got to get up here and pull something out of the back pocket and pull something out really quickly. Joey Lindgren in car number 16, falling backwards, has qualified for 2 features so far this season, wants to make it a third, but he's losing a little bit of ground, and Jarrett Liebert doing what he has to do and looking forward, but don't look behind because Chase Stewart on the way. Joey Lindgren's having a hard time keeping it out of the fence.
Yeah, he is. Now he's going to go down to the inside. Big slider here on the 40 machine of Stewart, able to make it stick and make that pass, but Chase Stewart now right on his back bumper. 2 laps remain. Do they have something in his last 2 laps? Lindgren back into the fence, and around he goes.
And Chase Stewart's going to knock him out of a top 2 position. Up in front, it's all Ethan Winter, as Winter will round corners number 3 and 4 in the 39 and will put it in victory lane and put it in the feature later on this evening. And through all of that excitement and calamity in behind, Jarrett Liebert's going with them. The number 5 is going to move into the feature. First time we've seen him all season in a feature contest for the World of Outlaws Pro Series, powered by iRacing. And on the outside looking in, Iraqi picks up a couple of spots from the back of the field, from 8th to 3rd. That's a great move, but it's 1 spot out when it comes to transferring into the feature. Chase Stewart, Aiden Beerline, Joey Lindgren, that's a big surprise. Sean Smith and Clayton Davies on the outside looking in. We said these LCSs were going to break some hearts this evening, and we just saw a couple there that we thought would be in the feature go later on. And that was so fun. Let's do it again. We've got 1 more LCS coming up, 12 laps, top 2 advance, and then we're going to move into a 35-lap feature where the caution periods will not count when it comes to that feature go later on this evening. 1 more last chance showdown coming up at us to move the top 2 into the feature to give us a 21 car starting field for what is the 9th sprint car race in series history here at Knoxville. We've seen some great finishes. We've seen some exciting runs. Who is going to make those final 2 spots? Ashton, who is in this one?
Rolling off from the pole position of the last chance showdown, number 2 is the 5 machine of Braden Carter, and on his outside, the 7 car of Connor Dudek. Row number 2 sees Ty Schoblock and Landon Cardoza. Row number 3 on the inside, 49 machine of Aiden Price, and on his outside, the 12 car of Bowen Smith. Row number 4, 2 more drivers in row number 4, and it's going to be the 25 car of Tyler Ducharme. And starting shotgun on the field will be the 5 car of Braden Eiler. Lots of heavy hitters. Last chance to lock into the 35-lap feature later on tonight. We've seen some great racing so far out of the sprint car capital of the world here at Knoxville, and I have a feeling that this last chance showdown is going to be no different.
I like the back row. I like the final 2 starters in this one, Tyler Ducharme and Braden Eiler, but they have to hustle to get to the front. Speaking of hustling, you got some time to take into the iRacing holiday sale. 50% off new iRacing memberships through January 5th. You can visit iracing.com/holiday-sale. You can put that under the tree. We got a holiday break coming up. Perfect opportunity to cash in on that deal as the field rolls off.
Last chance showdown for the night, 12 laps. And Tim, we talked about it earlier on. Points are close. We're in the back half of the season now, so every single point matters here. We only take the top 2, so that's going to be something else. But I wanted to point out something. Driver starting in 3rd, Ty Schoblock, was very, very strong earlier on his heat race. He's only got 1 position to make up. He's got to pass Carter or Dudek. So I would be interested to see if Ty Schoblock is able to make something happen here to make his way into a transfer position in this last chance showdown.
They are going to have to move quickly from the back of the field. We've seen Bowen Smith in a feature so far this season. Landon Cardoza obviously knows this series and knows his way around these dirt tracks when it comes to iRacing. Connor Dudek was close in his heat race, trying to lock in, but he's going to need to try to do it here through a last chance showdown as the field will get ready to come to green. Final qualifier of the evening, and it's going to be led by car number 5 of Braden Carter and Connor Dudek on the outside in car number 7. 8 cars taking the top 2, moving them into the feature. We're green.
Great start out of Carter. Green flag in the air. Big slider from the 17 machine. Not able to make it work, though, up to the top side. We got 2x2 battle right now from second on back, and it's all going to be behind the 5 machine of Carter, the 7 machine of and the 7 machine of Dudek. Showblock now right up in there. Cardoza, Bowen Smith right up in this battle as well. And big run here out of 20 machine of Cardoza up to the top side, trying to make that pass. Just as I said, that 17 throws the slider to the outside of 7 machine of Dudek.
You saw the 17 of Showblock make that move. You ride on board with Braden Eiler. He's a former winner in this series here at Knoxville. Won a race back, I believe, in 2020 in Ashton. I believe, if memory serves, it was on fuel mileage back in the day. Eiler trying to get back up and make this move, but he's got a lot of traffic in front of him. But the way they're racing, he might be in a good spot.
We're now riding on board with the second place car of Connor Dudek. The front of this pack is insane. Big battle happening right now for the lead. Connor Dudek currently holds it. Landon Cardoza in second. Price slides up to third, and Carter in fourth as they are all in one pack right now, sliding all over the place. Tim, we heard a lot of the drivers say it earlier on, the bottom side of the racetrack wasn't in quite yet, and it is in now, and Connor Dudek is making it work down to the inside. Slider taps 49 of Price, and Price is going to shoot to the back of the pack.
Price is going to be on the outside looking in, as is Showblock after that move a couple of laps earlier. He is in the pits, not making this feature coming up. Lots of action as we reach the halfway point in this last chance showdown. 6 down and 6 to go, and it's Landon Cardoza and Connor Dudek, your top 2. You see that battle side by side between the 5s of Eiler and Carter. It's the battle for third. Those boys have to get to stepping.
Yes, they do, and the 5 machine steps on it right now on the high side, the 5 machine of Carter, making that high side work, and I believe Eiler's going to take the high side this time around as well. Gaps are starting to be created. Just as I say that, Carter up into the fence and loses that gap, and Eiler is back in the mix. Wow! Big round for Carter, and I would assume that is going to end his chance here in the last chance showdown. Cardoza, Dudek, Eiler, now your top 3.
That is tough. That is really tough when you have a run and cannot put it together. And now Eiler has to get up here and get up to Cardoza and Dudek. This has been a rough and tumble last chance showdown. And with the way these ones run, where you have to get up on the wheel and have to make everything count, you're going to have some of these races that come up like this. Got 3 cars on the racetrack. 2 of them are going to transfer in.
2 laps remain. Landon Cardoza looking so strong, almost a second between him and the rest of the field. He's just got to click off this last final lap here in last chance showdown to lock in to the feature tonight. Down the back stretch into 3 and 4 for the 21 machine of Landon Cardoza, checkered out. And Landon Cardoza is going to take the last chance showdown number 2 win.
And you saw only 2 cars there, Ashton, and Braden Eiler tried to get to the back of Connor Dudek, but he got the wall, he got the fence in turn number 2, and that is going to end his chance of making it back in. That's big. Former winner here, missing the show. It's Cardoza and Dudek moving forward with Eiler, Carter, Ducharme, Price, Showblock, and Smith, the rest of your field. We've seen some surprises already this evening. We'll see what happens in 35 laps. Feature number 6 of the season comes up next.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Knoxville. We've had some exciting racing action so far this evening in Ashton. After qualifying, locking in the Grade 8, 3 heat races, 2 last chance showdowns, it comes to 21 cars in the feature for 35 green flag laps.
We've seen lots of exciting racing so far, and it's going to be no different for this 35-lap feature here at Knoxville Raceway at the sprint car capital of the world. It is located in Knoxville, Iowa. Half-mile lengthened track, like I said. I think the biggest sprint car track we've seen so far this year. It opened back in 1901. Home of course, the iconic Knoxville Nationals, as well as the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame. Last year's sprint car winner was Alex Bergeron. Like we said, Knoxville has been a part of the series since the very, very beginning. Always one to put on a show, and tonight has been no different as we see the crazy initial restart in heat race number 1 there.
Yeah, you see some of the racing action throughout. The guardrail, the fence has got a couple of drivers so far this evening as the drivers sit on pit road waiting to come back out onto this racetrack for a happy hour, very brief happy hour session before they get back onto the racetrack to see what has changed. I'm going to double check action. I don't think there was a rework of this racetrack. I think they have what they had after the 2 last chance showdowns. But we've seen this racetrack be very racy so far throughout all the qualifiers.
Yeah, we really have, and the bottom side has started to come in, especially during that last chance showdown that we just saw. So it's going to be very interesting here initially. Lots of commotion happened already. A lot of heavy hitters who did not make the show. We are down to our top 21 who will start this 35-lap feature. Just over halfway through the season, points matter, finishing starts matter, and just as I say that, we look at the points here. Kendall Tucker now leads on Logan Rumsey by 14 points for the battle for the championship.
And Blake Majulis, with the season that he's had, albeit not in the field, sits in position number 3. J.D. Brown is in the show. Dylan Yeager's in the show. We saw Dylan set fast time earlier this evening. Ethan Johnson not with us this evening in 6th. Avila Augustine. Obviously, Tanner Pettit has won the first 2 sprint car rounds that we've had this year in 9th, and Stephen Gaines not making the field in position number 10. So we've got some points to award later on this evening. You see the qualifying and the heat points. They're already decided for round number 6. It's the main feature points that are going to count here as the final moments click down on this practice session. And the field is getting ready to grid for what is going to be round number 6 of the World of Outlaws Pro Series, powered by iRacing at Knoxville Raceway. The second half of the 2024-25 season kicks off with this one, Ashton.
It is time for the starting grid for a 35-lap feature at the sprint car capital of the world, Knoxville Raceway, and rolling off from the pole position, the Alpha Industries driver of the 74 machine, Adam Elby, and to his outside, Logan Rumsey in the 41 machine. Teammates sitting on the front rows for Alpha Industries. Rolling off from the inside of row number 2 in the 960, the driver out of Florida, that is Sean English, and to his outside, to two-time sprint car winner so far this year, Tanner Pettit out of TPR Racing. In row number 3 on the inside 42 machine of Noah Carpenter from Spring Hill, Florida. And to his outside, the 52 car of James Eden from Santa Rosa, California. Row number 4 sees the number 20 and the 2023 sprint car champion of Aiden Forrester. And to his outside, the man who qualified on pole in the 48 car, Dylan Yeager out of Missoula C Speed Shop. Rolling off on the inside of row number 5, the 49 car of Ryan Avila, and to his outside, the 00 machine of Kendall Tucker from Millersburg, Pennsylvania. Rolling off of the inside of row number 6, Tyler Shell in the 85 car, from Millersburg, Pennsylvania, and Evan C., two-time late model champion from Chesney, South Carolina. Row number 7 sees the 11 car of Kenny Hoffman and the driver out of Quebec, Canada, Loic Bernier. In row number 8, new driver with the series here, Peyton Burton out of Indiana, and J.D. Brown will roll off on the outside of row number 8 from Bakersfield, California. Row number 9 sees the 19 car of Mike Augustine out of Missoula C Speed Shop Camp, and the 39 car of Ethan Winter all the way from Australia. In row number 10, we see the 21 car of Landon Cardoza just race their way through a last chance showdown roll off on the inside of row number 10. And on his outside, Jarrett Liebert in the 5 car, and rounding out starting shotgun on the field, Connor Dudek from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania.
Field begins to roll. Tim Terry and Ashton Smythe here to call round number 6 for you, and remind you that it's on the bottom of the screen if you don't have it already. Holiday sale is well underway until January 5th. Get those new memberships at iRacing.com/holiday-sale. The one thing that gets me, Ashton, when you look at this field, the top 13 have recent World of Outlaws Pro Series experience. They have seasons under their belts, whether it's with the sprint car, whether it's with the late model, or whether it's with a combination of both. I think this starting field so far this season, we've had a lot of big names in this series come at us through this new qualifying format, but I think this field might be the deepest when it comes to talent for a 21 car starting field.
We only see 4 rookies new to the World of Outlaws Pro Series in the field out of the 21 drivers. It's all going to be behind the very veteran sprint car front row and teammates of Adam Elby and Logan Rumsey out of Alpha Industries, and they are ready to go. Behind them, Sean English and Tanner Pettit will make up the second row. Pace truck pulls to the infield field. Out of turn 4, green flag out.
We are underway for round number 6 of the World of Outlaws Pro Series, powered by iRacing. And quickly, Adam Elby to the top. Adam's been involved in this series pretty much since the get-go and has been in a lot of these races here at Knoxville. He leads lap number 1. Logan Rumsey in a second, and Noah Carpenter starting to make some noise. Carpenter was a rookie in this series last year down to the bottom side. This is a mess in the middle. It includes Tyler Shell and Kendall Tucker.
This is the battle right now for the 9th, 10th position. You see the 49 machine of Ryan Avila there. Kendall Tucker starting to fall back a little bit. We talked about it earlier on, the bottom side has really come in now. Lots of those drivers opting for that inside line, and the 48 machine of Dylan Yeager struggling up on the top, trying to get down to the inside in front of Avila. Does not have the room side by side right now. It's all going to be behind your leader of LB. Top 5 is LB, Rumsey, English, Carpenter, and Pettit.
Great look up top there of how this racetrack has worked in. You see Sean English in the 960. This, in the short career that Sean English has had with us on the sprint car side, statistically, this is one of his best racetracks in the 960. As you ride on board with Tanner Pettit, he's won the first 2 sprint car races so far, looking for a third. He's got a little bit of traffic ahead of him, but he's got some time to try to get around. There's Noah Carpenter right ahead of him in car number 42. Good to see Noah back in the series, looking to get a top 3 effort out of this one. Sean English up against the fence, as is the Logan Rumsey number 41, and it might pilot him to the lead as you look back from Dylan Yeager. He's sawing on the wheel.
He is very stressed, Dylan Yeager, who currently sits in 10th right now, but the battle for the lead is heating up between LB and Rumsey as they are virtually side by side right down into those turns, and this opens the door for the 960 machine of Sean English to enter this party as well. It is all bumper to bumper for this front three right now, and they're all choosing the bottom side. 74 gets a little loose out of LB there to slide way up the racing surface, then opens the door for Sean English.
Sean English in the 960 trying to get the best run of his career when it comes to the sprint car in the Pro Series. Looking to the bottom side of Adam Elby. Going to try to pick up that spot. Look in behind. We're 2 and 3 wide as they work through the traffic. There's James Edens in the 52, and Adam Elby's off the pace.
Trouble, whoa. Just as I say, that 74 machine almost gets around, but was able to save it, and that is LB. He's fallen back now to the 11th spot. 10 laps into this feature race right ahead of him. Kendall Tucker on his outside. Evan C. trying to find something on the high side of this racing surface. And honestly, Tim, looks like he has one of the first few drivers we see opting for that top side, but LB still having trouble around Knoxville Raceway right now as he goes side by side with the 48 car of Dylan Yeager.
You look at Adam Elby. We talked about fine line in this series. You got to be on one side or the other, and Adam Elby just kind of stepped over that line a little bit. He goes from the front of the field, goes from the pole position all the way to outside the top 10. You ride on board with Tyler Schell. He's currently 13th, former sprint car champion. Shows how deep the talent is in this field. You see Kendall Tucker up the road a little bit, was working the outside, kind of working the middle now. He's going to try to make his way towards the front. As you see Sean English in the yellow 960 trying to get back with Tanner Pettit. Pettit once again trying to go 3 for 3 this season when it comes to the sprint car. The one thing that we haven't a whole lot talked about here is Logan Rumsey is out by almost a second. We haven't seen this sort of performance out of Logan Rumsey since the opener, and Yeager's around.
Big trouble, and that's going to bring the caution flag out on lap number 14 of our 35-lap feature. Now going to put Sean English right behind Logan Rumsey. That second lead that Rumsey has built is now vanished. Tim, I talked about it just a second ago when we saw Evan C. kind of taking the top side there, but the top side's really come in, so we'll see how this goes as we take a look at the replay of what just happened.
The 74 of Loic Bernier right there. There's the 48. Just kind of got out of shape and lost a little bit of that momentum, and Tyler Schell nowhere to go but into the back of the 48 of Dylan Yeager. That could have been a lot bigger than it was, but you want to talk about heartbreak. There's the driver that set fast time, started in position number 8, and really just couldn't get out of that little bit of a mess, hornet's nest, whatever you want to call it, in the middle of the pack. We've seen some drivers work their way through. Avila has moved from 9th to 6th. Kenny Hoffman has moved from 13th to 7th. So we've seen some of these drivers move through the field, Ashton, but it's tough, right, when everybody's on top of each other and you really don't have an advantage on the guy that's right beside you.
Yeah, it's still anyone's game. We still have 20 laps remaining in this feature. It's going to be Logan Rumsey and Sean English who will restart at the front of the field behind the iRacing official pace truck as they make their way through 3 and 4. Pace truck has its lights still on. Going to give it another second before we go back green flag racing. Tanner Pettit, another driver who's looked so strong. But Tim, I'm very interested to see at this restart. Sean English has had great speed so far tonight. I'll be interesting if he's able to get a good restart and is able to get something done here on the 41 car of Logan Rumsey.
So you got Logan Rumsey, who's been battling for the points championship all season long, kicked off the season with a victory at Volusia in the late model. You've got Tanner Pettit sitting in position number 3, 9th in points. Has made 3 features so far this season, has won both sprint car rounds. You got Sean English, who's still a little green around the ears. I believe this is his 3rd season as a pro. But the best effort that we've seen feature-wise out of Sean English in a very long time as the pace truck is going to peel in. We're coming back to the green flag. 14 laps completed right here. We're back underway. 3 very interesting and differing strategies this season. And oh, by the way, there's Noah Carpenter making his first start of the year, looking for a top 3 effort.
Great restart there out of...
Whoa. Oh, and English is up and over.
Wow.
Sean English up and over out of nowhere. Yellow flag will fly, and man, I hate to say it, but the glass slipper did not fit this evening for the driver of the 960 and Sean English, who was having the best run of his career, at least from what we've seen on this Pro Series. It's gonna go to the wayside, and gonna go to the wayside in a big way. I guess, Ashton, if you're going to go home, you're going to go big. Let's take a look at the replay.
960 up on the top side of the racing surface. The corner clips the fence, and up and around the 960 of Sean English goes. You know, we've had a lot of laps run around this racing surface now. A pretty thick cushion is probably developing. That fluff is going to be dangerous for the top side. These drivers are really going to have to watch it here at Knoxville Raceway. You know, if you clip the fence, there's no forgiveness here. So these drivers are going to have to watch that. But be sure to go to iRacing.com/woo-pro-series to get all of the information on the series, the standing schedule, and learn how to become a driver in this series. So iRacing.com/woo-pro-series. It's now going to be a Rumsey Pettit front or up two. Logan Carpenter will restart in third, and James Eden now up to fourth. And we go green.
And it's going to move Ryan Avila up into the top 5. Avila and Forrester, we chatted about, tied for this series championship last season. Forrester gets the nod on one extra win, but every time we saw these drivers throughout the season last year fighting for that championship, they weren't too very far apart when it came to the standings. And Ryan mentioned it earlier, finished 4th here last season. He did. And Aiden Forrester was on the podium, finished in position number 2. So again, Avila and Forrester, one spot in between them. It just so happens that Avila's ahead of them, and now it's for a top 5 position. They got to get up on the wheel to try to make something happen here in the closing in on the second half of this one. Couple of quick cautions. We're back underway. 15 completed this time by, and Rumsey, Pettit, and Carpenter lead us into 1 and 2.
Racing surface definitely starting to slick off here as we are 16 laps into this 35-lap feature. Battle starting to happen. You see Ryan Avila right there. That is the battle for the 4th spot. Is the 52 car of James Eden up to the top side. Great shot there. You see that white 52 car on the outside of that blue purplish 49 machine. That was the battle for 5th. Lots of stuff happening, but it's all behind Logan Rumsey, who's still leading the field 17 laps in.
And the one thing I want to talk about on this shot right here is I believe this is Kendall Tucker we're running on board with the new build that we had last week, Ashton. There's a new particle model. They've kind of updated it just a little bit. You can see a little more dust around this racetrack. A lot of these drivers were telling me this week about, you know, I need to have a couple of extra tear-offs to try to keep my vision clean when it comes to this new model that we do have with particles and dust and dirt. So great job by the folks at iRacing to continue to make this as real as they can get it. And you can see it. You saw it off that top shot where you see all the dust and everything being kicked up, and you can see it as you ride on board with some of these drivers. There's James Edens again on the outside trying to make something happen. That is the 52 in position number 5 as you look back from Ryan Avila.
Riding on board with the driver who sits in 4th right now, 1 position out of a podium finish. 4th is where Ryan finished last year. He said he wants to get that 1 spot better finish on the podium. He has 15 laps to try and make something happen here on Rumsey, your leader. Pettit in 2nd, or Carpenter, who sits in 3rd. But right behind him, not that far of a gap between him and that 11 car of Hoffman, and right behind him, Forrester. Lots of heavy hitters behind him. It looks like Hoffman is starting to close the gap on the 49 machine of, the 49 machine of Avila.
And there's Forrester on your screen in car number 20, just outside the top 5, sitting in position number 7. Got some drivers ahead of him trying to get up there and make it happen. Ryan Avila's on the move, though. The 49 just ahead of this is looking at the 52 of James Edens. On your screen is the 42 of Noah Carpenter, looking at Tanner Pettit for the runner-up spot. And we saw this on the first run of this race as we're already in the second half of this one. Logan Rumsey, Ashton, give him a couple of laps. He gets into a rhythm, and he's pulling away. It's over 0.6 of a second.
Logan Rumsey pulling away, but James Eden catching Tanner Pettit to the inside of the 24 machine. James Eden, wow, what a run out of the driver of the 52 machine. Give Eden 2nd, Tanner Pettit 3rd, Carpenter 4th, Avila 5th. 11 laps remain. Battles heating up all over this racing surface right now as we watch this battle a little farther back in the field. That's going to include the 19 machine of Mike Augustine, also 39 of Winter. And just as I say that, Augustine off the pace a little bit.
Yeah, Augustine had a handful of steering wheel that time to keep it off of Winter, and he's going to fall back to position number 18. Up front, Tanner Pettit's into the fence out of turn number 2, and he is going to lose 1, 2, 3, 4 positions all the way back. Noah Carpenter's now in second. James Edens was up against the fence a couple of laps ago, Ashton, as we look back to that battle with Mike Augustine. These guys, I don't want to say it, these guys are almost trading mistakes up front.
Yeah, and there's no room for mistakes here with only 9 laps left. Rumsey, Edens up second. Carpenter now in third. Edens still on the high side of this racing surface. The 42 machine looking so strong on the bottom, though. Tim, I hate to say it, but I think the 52 is going to have to make his way down to the bottom to be able to make this pass. And also here comes Ryan Avila, and here comes Kenny Hoffman, who currently sits in 5th as we ride on board with the Allentown, Pennsylvania driver. Ryan Avila has now caught the back bumper of the 52 machine of James Edens.
Yeah, Kenny Hoffman coming from position number 13 this evening, already up in the top 5 and trying to make something happen as Carpenter tries to get it away from Edens. Avila is stuck on the outside, and Carpenter got a little too much on that inside. Going to lose the momentum and lose second and third potentially. He comes back to the bottom side. Hoffman going to try to get a few more out of this. Oh, by the way, as they continue to trade this second place position, Logan Rumsey's gone by over a second. This time by, they'll have 5 to go.
Ryan Avila right on the back bumper of the 52 machine, 3 wide throughout the corner. Edens on the high side, Avila on second, and Carpenter in third. As we take a look farther back in the field, battle still happening all over the place. 5 laps right now. This is the view of 6th through 11th. That includes Kendall Tucker. You see right there in the 00 machine, everyone really picking the bottom. Some guys trying to make the high side work. We also see the 74, Loic Bernier, who had some trouble earlier on tonight. And just as I say that, a little bobble, but he's able to get it saved. 4 laps remain.
Yeah, that was Adam Elby that almost went for a ride in that 74 car. You see right in front of Tyler Schell. Schell gave him an opportunity to save it a little bit. There's the battle for second as Ryan Avila has gone to the top. James Edens down to the bottom side. Behind them, Carpenter and Hoffman are wheel to wheel. Up in front, Logan Rumsey continues to lead. He'll take 2 laps to go. This time by Avila trying to take that runner-up spot away. James Edens trying to dig deep on the bottom side. Both of them have done some work here this evening to try to get towards the front of the running order. They will come to the white flag. This time by, final lap for Logan Rumsey as Rumsey tries to take away his second victory of the season. It's going to be a fight for position number 2. Logan Rumsey kicked the season off with a win in the late model at Volusia. For the first time in this Pro Series, the new format, we have a winner in both the late model and the sprint car. It's going to be Rumsey picking up the win at Knoxville, and there's that battle, Ashton, off the end. Give it to Ryan Avila over James Edens.
What an incredible race that Knoxville showed here tonight. James Edens drive up from 6th, but Ryan Avila started back in 9th. Was able to make that big charge up through the field, but it's all going to be behind your winner of Logan Rumsey, Port Trevorton, Pennsylvania driver, and this is going to be, I believe, his 5th pro win here. A big congratulations to the 41 machine of Logan Rumsey.
And it might be, Ashton, one of the most important when it comes to this championship and the standings we'll see in just a moment. But it is Logan Rumsey picking up the win. Ryan Avila, James Edens, top 3. We'll talk to them in just a moment. Noah Carpenter just on the outside looking into the podium. Finishes in 4th, just outside the money this evening. Evan C., Kenny Hoffman, Tanner Pettit won the first 2 sprint car races this season. He will have to settle for 7th. Aiden Forster, Loic Bernier, and there's Kendall Tucker in 10th. Believe it or not, worst finish of the season for Kendall Tucker in position number 10 heading into the holiday break. Tyler Schell, Adam Elby, J.D. Brown, Ethan Winter, and Connor Dudek, your top 15. Landon Cardoza, Mike Augustine, Jarrett Liebert. And then some drivers that had some tough luck. Peyton Burton, last driver on the lead lap. Dylan Yeager, after his issue, finishes 2 laps down here this evening. And Sean English went big after running in 2nd. Going to finish in 21st place, 21 laps down this evening. Exciting finish, and it ends with Logan Rumsey ahead of the field. Ashton, you've caught up with now a 2-time winner this season.
Logan Rumsey gets it done at Knoxville Raceway, Port Trevorton, Pennsylvania driver. Logan, what a run. Let's talk about the beginning, though. You started on the front row with your teammate of Adam Elby. He falls back. What went through your head in that moment when you see him start falling back and you now see no cars in front of you?
Yeah, I was just really lucky to hit the invert there. The qual times were really close. A couple thousand slower, I would have been in a heat race. So kind of got lucky there, and it's just really good to be on the front row in these sprint car races. You never really know what's going to happen if you're back there in the field. But yeah, Adam got a good start. I was just kind of hanging with him there the first couple laps, and just started working the bottom. I knew the bottom would be good. That's how this race is won every single year. So I just started working the bottom and just was figuring it out every lap. And I'm just really surprised I even made it work. You know, I just got to thank Gunnar Harris for helping me out in the setup for this week. He was really fast in Knoxville, and I was terrible. So I tried to. He really hooked me up for this one.
First driver to pick up a win in both the late models and the sprint cars. What does that mean to you?
I'm known as a sprint car guy in real life, so it's kind of weird to have more late model wins than sprint car wins. So just trying to catch up on. I think I might have 3 late model wins, so trying to get another one.
Let's talk about the points for a second. Now in the second half of the season here, and you're in the hunt for the championship, picking up another win tonight. How do you approach the rest of the season to make sure that you come out on top with the championship at the end of the year?
Just gotta, first off, you just gotta make the race on Monday. You know, the qualifiers are, you never know what can happen. There's Evan C. and Blake Majulis didn't make it for a couple weeks, so and they're the best in the game. So it's you never really know. You just gotta qualify good and try to make it happen. And then when you get in the race, it's hard, man. You just gotta do your best.
Well, great run tonight, and congratulations on your second win of the year.
Thank you.
Logan Rumsey picks up the win, and now we're going to talk to the driver of the 52 machine, James Edens, with a solid second-place run. Your car really seemed to come to life in the second half. What do you think your speed secret was in that later half? Do you think those restarts are what kind of helped you gain some positions there?
The restarts for sure helped. I think the bottom was really good early, and then, they were running it more and more, and it got smaller and smaller and harder for them to hit. And then, pretty much just hanging it all out there up top and running it as hard as we could without trying to get into the wall or anything. And it definitely came around for us, and we were able to get up there and pass some cars.
Well, congratulations on a great run tonight.
Thank you.
James Edens in second, and rounding out the podium here tonight is the 49 car of Ryan Avila. We talked to you earlier on. You ran a heat race. You started 9th, and now you finished on the podium. One spot better than last year. Happy with your performance here tonight?
Oh yeah, solid second place tonight. I feel like I drove my butt off. Not much else I could do. It wasn't lifting at all. So it's one of the most technical tracks I've ever ran. I think James said it too. It was so two-lined at the beginning there, and then the bottom just started to take off and almost take rubber, it looked like, and the middle came in, the top came in, and I finally found my line and just ran my groove straight up.
Great battle there with Edens. What do you think more you needed there to be able to pass him for that second place spot?
I think I needed a caution to win the race, finish second, but still happy. Nothing else I could have really done except without a caution. I got to thank Tanner Pettit, all the guys over that help us out. Nothing else I could have done to win that race except a caution. So it just sucks running second like that and not being able to race it out.
Well, congratulations on a podium finish.
Thank you.
Ryan Avila brings it home third. Tim, another night in the books, and wow, points are shaking up. It is now Logan Rumsey, second win on the year, top of the board. Kendall Tucker in second, 15 points behind. J.D. Brown in third, 80 points behind. That battle between Rumsey and Tucker has been close all year, and we saw some great racing action tonight. Be interested to see how the last 4 races of the season go.
Logan Rumsey hit the nail on the head there when he mentioned Blake Majulis missing this week and Evan C. missing, I believe it was week number 1. If you miss one, you miss a lot, and you miss the opportunity to take those points. Blake Majulis missed this week. He's now 125 points out, and his worst finish when he is with us is 8th. That tells you something with this series. Not only do you have to be big on Mondays, you have to make it into Monday in order to have a shot at winning this championship. We take 2 weeks off Our next race comes up at our newest venue on the iRacing platform, and it is Huset Speedway. The main event is January 6th. You will try to qualify through the new year starting December 31st on the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 8 p.m. for the qualifiers, and we will be with you on that Monday at 8 p.m. for round number 7 at Huset's with the sprint car. That's going to do it for us this evening. 6 races in to this 2024-25 World of Outlaws Pro Series powered by iRacing. We have our second two-time winner this season in Logan Rumsey. He's won in the late model. He's won in the sprint car. They'll try to do it all again in a few weeks' time at Huset's. On behalf of Ashton Smythe and our entire iRacing production crew, my name is Tim Terry. We will see you in January when we say, let's go racing. Until then, keep the hammer down. We'll see you at the track.